Good morning and happy new year. Welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. My name is Graham Hughes. Glad to have you with us. Sorry for the little delay getting started there. Once again, my new little camera friend wasn't actually doing what it was meant to do. This time it just wasn't picking up a picture at all. So I had to pick up a picture. But it's all right now. We're sorted. We are sorted, and we're so sorted. We have time to say hello to Miss Paula Thomas, to David Peacock, to Lost Missionary, to Diz in the chat there. We've got Chrissy, we've got Veg Pie, we've got Gillian Hope, we've got Simon Smith in there as well. We've got Saz, Blue Badger. Hello, welcome, and happy new year to 2026. So today, we're going to be talking about what lies ahead, what lies beneath, what lies above, what lies in our path in the next 12 months of 2026. And, some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's indifferent. But, some of it might happen, some of it might not. All kinds of shit could happen. It might be a wild year. It might be a very, very wild year. So, first of all, we'll look at politics. Who's up? Who's down? Who's doomed? Who's gloomed? But before we get into that, thank you very much, Diz. I said, Happy New Year, Graham Politics, and give me some confetti, which reminds me of confetti. So let's celebrate. Let's celebrate with confetti. New Year, confetti. And while I'm blathering on, you can tell me what you got up to last night. We had a quiet one here in Casa Graham, here in Durham. I suppose it's Casa Catherine, really. And, stayed up till 1. And then watched Stranger Things. Had to stop a couple of times to get more popcorn. Didn't get to sleep till about 4. You should be warned, the last episode of Stranger Things is 2 hours long. No spoilers, please, for those who haven't seen it. I liked it. It was all right. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't terrible. It was a good ending. They ended it. It ended. It was good. I stayed up all night to keep my kids company in case they were woken by the explosions, says Blue Badger. Politics aside, GTA 6 comes out in this year. 2026 will be a good year. So it says, I was in bed for 10, so there's daylight. Wishing a truly awful new year to Farage, Trump, Refuck, and MAGA. Says, David Peacock. I couldn't agree more. Happy New Year, Graham and Kat and Graham's parents. Oh, thanks very much, Sarah. Back in Durham. I had to drive back to Durham. The weather was bloody awful last night. I don't know if anyone was awake. Like 4 a.m. Jesus Christ. Seems to have settled down a little bit here anyway. What's the weather like where you are? Yeah, Happy New Year. PTSD and fireworks, not a great mix. Yeah, that is very true. My advice for you and for your pets is music. Put some music on. I get bothered. I get bothered about like the sound of people eating and shit. You know, that thing that people have. I don't have it too bad. Like, it doesn't make me vomit or go into a rage or anything. It's just a bit uncomfortable for me to hear people chewing, or biting their teeth or grinding their teeth. Or there's certain sounds. So I just pop a couple of headphones in my ears and just drown it out. Gammons are kicking off about London New Year firework display being too woke. How the fuck can a firework display be too woke? Chris, I'm sorry, but the gammons, they're not all there, mate. They're just not all there. I also want to say a big thank you before we go on to Paul Ewan, because Paul Ewan gave us the first super chat of 2026. So thank you very much for that, Paul. That's very kind of you. And we just had another one. Tim Ballum, thank you very much. I thought I was in ? With all the fireworks. Yes, indeed. And also Veg Pie there with a £5 super chat. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Happy New Year to Graham and all. Oh, that is really sweet. Thank you so much. So, looking at the year ahead, let's make some predictions. So in May, we have got local and devolved elections across the UK. Labour's going to get absolutely decimated by the looks of things. They're facing pressure from the Refuck on the right and the Greens on the left. And the Lib Dems in the middle. Plaid Cymru will be a major challenge in Wales, and it does look like the SNP might see a little bit of a resurgence in Scotland after a few fallow years, so to speak. And also there is predictions of a potential collapse for Labour in the Welsh heartlands, which is going to be very devastating for Labour because they've always seen themselves as the defender of Wales, I guess. News to Plaid Cymru. So yeah, Starmer's leadership is definitely under threat if those results are poor. So he should be all right till May. He's definitely going to be in the post in May. But if he does leave in May or after May, then the issue there is it's not going to look great, is it, from a stability point of view? The bond markets. It's not the market, the stock markets that you got to worry about. They go up and down all the time like a fucking roller coaster. It's the bond markets. They're the ones that freaked out when Liz Truss dropped her disastrous mini budget on the planet, especially this place, our country. So then Starmer has already framed 2026 as his year of proof, or rather Labour's year of proof, where they have to prove, their worth, their mettle, prove their mettle, spelled differently to metal, as in, metals. But Martin, thank you very much. Fireworks at 2 a.m. here. Did their clock stop? I don't know, Martin. Maybe they were celebrating New Year in, I don't know, Canary Islands, maybe? In the Azores? Is that +2? I don't know. -2 even. -2. Martin, I'm sorry you had to put up with that shit. You should come to Durham. There were no fireworks here. There's fuck all in the way of fireworks. Probably because the weather was atrocious at midnight. But also, I think all the dickheads around here spent all their money on fucking flags. Literally fucking them. And then putting them up bloody lampposts. So that might have taken out all their celebration budget. They just had their flags. So yeah, we're going to look at Labour's year of proof. They want to lift 350,000 children out of poverty, which is their sort of flagship claim for the year. And then you've got the issue of leadership rivals circling: Rayner, Mahmood, Streeting, and Andy Burnham, who's not an MP, so can't be Labour leader, can't be Prime Minister, not an MP, but there is a chance that he will not, step down as being mayor of Manchester and take a seat that is vacated by another Labour MP. The problem with that is Labour are so unpopular at the moment. There are very few safe Labour seats. The benefit of the doubt that people were prepared to give Labour in 2024 is no longer there. There is rumours of a deal. This is going to be taking Angela Rayner back into the cabinet, which I think would be a great move, and also sacking Morgan McSweeney, who is the advisor to Keir Starmer, who's not seen as the best. I'm trying to be diplomatic here. So anyway, meanwhile, over in the United States, they're having their midterms in November. That is going to dominate the news for the next 11 months, as their bloody elections always do. It's like they start the presidential elections 4 years before the actual bloody election, and then all you hear is election for like ever. I like it in the UK where you just have 6 weeks and then it's done, and then the new people take over the next day. The old government goes and the new government takes over the next day. Yeah, I like that. Instead of fannying around for 2 months going, oh, well, I'm moving out the White House now. What's the point? Waste of freaking time. The way that the American system is set up is it's like time. Time just doesn't matter. No one feels like they're running out of time. But Republicans are expected to struggle due to Trump's failing approval ratings. They haven't gone down that much. We do make a lot of the facts that they go down like a couple of percentages. And you say he's the most unpopular president ever and all this kind of shit. But the reality is that his cult is strong. His cult is deranged. His cult will do anything for him. Look at me Donny, look at me. It's all for you. So yeah, that's a worry. The worry is that also that Trump will declare some kind of fucking emergency and decide there's going to be no elections for whatever stupid bloody reason he comes up with. And he'll be backed in that by the Supreme Court. There is a Supreme Court ruling coming up over whether Trump's executive order to put tariffs on everyone is actually constitutional, which it's not. But this particular Supreme Court is so blatantly corrupt, transparently corrupt, that I think they're going to let him do it. Another interesting thing that happened sort of in 2025 is that the Parliament building over there, they call it the Congress, they only passed about 70 fucking laws, and a lot of them are going to get vetoed by Trump. Usually in a good year, or in a given year, not even a good year, it's 250 laws get passed by Congress. They actually turn up and do stuff. They've been doing fuck all for the last year, so sitting on their hands, waiting for Donny to tell them what to do. Meanwhile, Donald Judas Trump has actually signed over 200 executive orders in that time. So all those bits of policy that should have been going through their Parliament, through their House of Representatives, through the Senate, that didn't happen. It was just Trump. It was just Trump going, yeah, I'm gonna slap 10% tariffs on the Heard and McDonald Islands where the penguins roam. Those bloody penguins, they deserve a 10% tariff. Yeah. So there is potential though for the Democrats, if this election goes ahead, if these midterms go ahead, to absolutely decimate any chance of Trump or his cronies doing much in the forthcoming couple of years as a result of that election. Another election I'm looking forward to seeing is the parliamentary elections in April in Hungary. And this leaves Viktor Orban's 16-year rule of terror quite vulnerable. People are turning against him in droves. There is an election in Brazil in October, and Lula is running for a fourth term. Meanwhile, Bolsonaro, who is in jail, will be manipulating things from behind the scenes to get himself a president who's going to give Bolsonaro a pardon. You heard it here. Probably not first, because people have probably said this before, because it's so obvious what they're going to do. But if the Bolsonistas, that's what they're called, if they get in these elections later this year, then that is a bit of a worry, because it means they'll let that gobshite Bolsonaro, who mounted an insurrection against his own parliament building on January the 7th. You see, the thing is that when Trump did it, he did it on January the 6th, so that was all right. It's mad, isn't it, that Brazil have got a stronger rule of law than the USA, that likes to make movies about itself all the frickin' time. Putting it diplomatically, says Tommy, I think Sweeney has shown he's good on offence but terrible on defence, hence why he's got to go and fast. It's fair enough. Sorry for saying defence like an American. My dogs were trembling wrecks with the fireworks, said Sid. I'm sorry, Sid. It's a bit late now, but next time. I think it's Classic FM. Is it Classic FM? Do music for dogs when the fireworks are going off. Diz says something that I think sums up how a lot of people feel. I used to like fireworks before I had a frightened dog. Yeah. But then again, dogs frighten me. So what about that, eh? What about the fact that I'm walking down the road, right? And then there's a hedge. And then suddenly from behind the hedge, right, there's this loud noise from this dog that's on the other side of the hedge. It doesn't like the fact I'm walking past. It literally gives me a heart attack and I literally die. What about that, eh? Yeah? Do you ever think of that? No. Azores is GMT -1. Mainland Portugal and the Madeiran Islands are GMT. The Madeiran Islands rarely go below 15 degrees C at night or 27 degrees C in the day throughout the year. Can be windy, though. Thank you very much for that information, Adrian. So is anyone, because, it would be slap bang in the middle of the Atlantic, wouldn't it? Is anyone on -2? Is anyone on GMT? There must be somewhere on GMT -2. Maybe Iceland? Is Iceland on GMT -2? Actually, I don't think it is. I think that's on GMT, isn't it? So how do you feel about Labour joining with the Tories to overrule SNP elected councils, 39 in Scotland. Don't feel good about that, Gordon. Don't feel good at all. Yeah, I don't like anyone joining up with the fucking Tories, to be honest with you. But yeah. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. There are signs of splits with MAGA, with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert falling out with Trump. That is very good news as well, Ms. Paula Thomas. That is absolutely awesome. But yeah, just to go back to what Gordon's point was, I mean, the SNP vote with the Tories all the time in Parliament, in the British Parliament, sorry, not the Scottish Parliament, but perhaps maybe they do it in the Scottish Parliament. I don't know, but they often vote into the no lobby with the Tories, so you could argue that they're voting with Tories. They also vote with refuck against Labour. So how do you feel about that? It's just politics, mate. I mean, it's shit, and I'd love it all if we all linked arms and sang Kumbaya, but it's not the political reality we live in. It's not the political system we live in. I'd like to live in a more proportional, representative system, a place where, the majority get what they want. So when a majority of people in Scotland vote to stay in the EU, they get to stay in the EU. I would like that. That would be great. Chris says, that's how I feel. The only way McSweeney goes if Starmer goes. The backbenchers are kick off about McSweeney, and Starmer is protecting him instead of listening to his MPs. I think that there might be something more to it than that, Chris. It might be that he's just thinking like when things go really bad, I can like get rid of him. Like a what's it? Chaff, is it? When you fly in a jet plane, you fly off some chaff, so the missile follows the chaff rather than the plane. Yeah, am I making that up? Is that what they do? Something like that. Something it's called chaff. Yeah, McSweeney is very much Starmer's chaff, I think, and I don't think it's got to the point where Starmer's like, shit, I need to do something. Maybe he's waiting till May when they do really badly in the local elections, and then he's going to go, right, now he has to go. Quick, right, Angela, come on board. You can be deputy prime minister again after, a half a year on a naughty step. I don't like it when hedges start barking either. Yes, veg pie. Barking hedges should be... Barking spiders are the worst. I find it telling the hedge to shut up when the barking works. China did an amazing drone and light show, and they invented bloody fireworks, says Paul. Yeah, they bloody invented it, the bastards. So if you're going to blame anyone, you got to blame the Chinese. So yeah, moving on. Where we got else? We got presidential elections in April in Peru, and there's more than 30 candidates going for the position of president. Quite volatile. Colombia, there's also presidential elections in May, and high volatility is expected. Petro can't run in this election, the incumbent, because they've run out their terms. Mexico, judicial reforms under scrutiny, the first anniversary of elected federal judges in June. And also in Bangladesh and Nepal, there are going to be some first quarter elections, which are going to be focused on youth-driven politics following recent protests in both of those countries. Lebanon, there's going to be parliamentary elections in May. And Europe, there's going to be parliamentary elections in Denmark, Slovenia, Sweden, and they're all testing the far-right momentum, I guess. Ethiopia, Uganda, Somalia are all having national elections. And, General Z, or Gen Z, as it likes to call itself, is going to be very much in the... being given power that they've never really had before, as more and more Gen Zers come on board, come online for being able to vote in these elections. Don't forget, if the voting age is 18, there's going to be some people who don't get to vote till they're 24. Sorry, that's my bad maths. 23. Almost 23. Anyway, so moving on. We've got global conflicts to look forward to in the new year, in 2026, and also security flashpoints. Obviously, Ukraine will still be an ongoing issue. There is slow Russian advances with very high casualty rates. Outcome is predicted to be a frozen conflict, with sort of, to keep on the frozen theme, glacial deals, glacial gains. I mean, and also like deals that don't really go anywhere. It's just a lot of talk, especially from the Russians, because they're not interested in peace. Because as I've explained time and time again on this channel, Putin doesn't want peace because peace means that Putin dies. That's it. That's what happens if the Russians pursue peace. Putin dies. Putin don't want to die. You don't want to die. So what's he going to do? He's going to keep the war going. He's going to make other people die so he can stay alive. Drinking the blood of the newly dead. So yeah, moving on. We've got the fact that Ukraine requires $100 billion for 2026 to maintain resistance. Very unlikely that any of that's going to come from the US now, as the US is so far up Russia's arse. It may as well be a vassal state of Russia. How pathetic! What a downfall for the USA. What a funny way for the Russians to win the Cold War. And there's going to be two things that could collapse this year. One of them is the Ukrainian front line. I can't really see that. If the Russians do try and bed in all the way to the Dnieper River, I just can't see the Ukrainians putting up with it. They're going to make life hell for the Russians, and the strikes that are happening right now against the oil infrastructure of Russia is devastating to the Russian economy. So what's more likely to collapse than the Ukrainian front lines in the next 12 months is the Russian economy. The problem is, no matter what pain Ukraine inflicts by going after the oil infrastructure oil platforms in the Caspian, they've gone after refineries, they've gone after tankers. But what is going to be sort of the trump card, so to speak, for the Russians is going to be Donald Trump. He's already bailed his mate out, Javier Milei. He gave him $40 billion in used $5 notes. He sent over a couple of containers worth of cash to give to Milei to prop up the Argentinian economy. $40 billion of American taxpayers' money was given to a friend of the Fash. And this is what the Fash do. The Fash all link together and help each other out in a way that democracies don't. Communists do that as well. Other countries, they helped each other out to some extent. Although they fell out with Yugoslavia and Russia and USSR, and China. But, the idea was they're all going to help each other out. It's going to be great. And don't forget, Russia has been helping out Venezuela, or been helping out Cuba for many, many years. Whereas democracies are like, oh, well, I don't want to give you money because, it's capitalism, isn't it? That would be an unfair advantage. We actually make rules saying you can't help other countries because it's an unfair advantage. You can't help companies in your own country. It's an unfair advantage, says the WTO. Which seemed like a good idea when there wasn't Fash in the world. But now there's Fash, so we need to do something about that quick. Ivan, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. That's very generous of you. Happy New Year, my friend. The DWP is deliberately and willfully making me more ill with my mental health. The mandatory reconsideration of my overpayment is still ongoing after months and months. Now they have identified another false overpayment. Oh my God. I'm sorry to hear that, Ivan. That is so shit. Like, why are they going after people who are already vulnerable for their mistakes? Like, if they fuck up, if they overpay you, that's their mistake, not yours. But somehow they make it your mistake and add to your mental health issues. They can just fuck off. Anyway, look, mate, you got a nice community here where we all look after each other. So if we can help in any way, please let us know. But this is sorry. Our dog used to chase cats through front gardens. You couldn't see him, just the hedges shaking as he passed through them. Well, there you go, Martin. I mean, maybe cats make fireworks. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe fireworks are the revenge of cats against dogs in the ongoing war of cats versus dogs. Have you ever thought about that? Ivan, thanks very much for the £5 super chat. To continue from my previous super chat, this is why I don't do Happy New Year. I can't tempt fate. Christmas, yes. New Year, no, in my eyes. Okay, mate. But thank you. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I shall not wish you a Happy New Year then. But Happy Christmas. Have you mentioned there's going to be a huge Supreme Court voting on whether Trump's tariffs are illegal? I did mention that earlier, Mr. Deep Sight. You might have missed it. Good chance of winning would mean Trump is supposed to pay back money to the countries. I think I mentioned it. I meant to mention it because we're talking about the Supreme Court being corrupt. I'm sure I mentioned the Supreme Court being corrupt. But yes, basically, this is going to be the big test case. But I think they're just going to go along with Trump. Look at what they've done over last summer. They've just gone, yeah, whatever he wants, he can have. They let ICE go after people for the colour of their skin. They let Trump sue people who he felt had been mean to him, which is a clear violation of the First Amendment to the Constitution. So, yeah. Chris C says, can be Badnock has accused Starmer of being weak if he starts to unpick Brexit? Badnock, I'm thinking of 2 words, made up of 7 letters, 3 of which are F. Very good. Thanks, Chris. And Adam says, Adrian. The main divide in Scotland is between pro-independence parties, SNP, Scottish Greens, and Alba, mainly, and pro-unionist parties, most of the rest. Your party included in Scottish poll 30th of December at 1%. I don't think your party is going to be a major political catalyst one way or another in 2026. I think they've done their dash, to be honest with you. And Tommy says, this is why I feel dirty, because I know what she's up to, but if Trump gets screwed over in the process, then go for it, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Chris says, what harm will the ECHR telling the UK government to justify removing British citizenship from that girl who joined ISIS? ISIL. I see Farage and Badnock as seasonal. Yeah. And also, the woman who wrote that horrible tweet, a couple of tweets actually, suggesting people go and kill people, kill women and children, stay in asylum seekers staying in hotels. That woman, Louise Connolly, is it Connolly? I don't know, something like that. She's horrible. Anyway, she went online to say that the guy who has an Egyptian passport should have his British citizenship taken off him for writing things on the internet. Yeah, like she went to jail for that. If she had a passport for another country, would she be cheering the fact that like they could just take the British passport off her for doing a very similar thing, calling for the deaths of whoever? Yeah. Anyway, back into... Oh, hang on. Chris says, and this is one of the reasons Cameron government stripped legal aid so people couldn't get help and challenge the DWP. Yep, they absolutely did. I mean, they didn't just do that. I mean, they also... The shit that the Cameron government did, like austerity and taking money. I mean, remember Rishi Sunak bragging about taking money from inner city areas that really needed it, and like funding, and giving it to like the fucking Cotswolds or somewhere. What a twat. Yeah, indeed. Did anyone hear about the woman in Doncaster who saw a load of paragliders and thought Hamas was invading Doncaster? Yes, Colin, I heard about that story, and that's the most Doncaster thing to have ever Doncastered. Indeed. Lucy Connolly, Sean Connery, Susan Connolly. No, it's Lucy Connolly. USA has a sea ice border with Russia. Little Diomede Island, USA, is less than 2 kilometers from Big Diomede Island. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. People have swum between the two in the summer, both inhabited. Locals want peace. Well, yeah, I'm sure the locals do want peace, but they're going to get it, aren't they, whether they want that peace or not, because America is going to become a vassal state, or it probably is already a vassal state, arguably, of Russia under Trump. So while he's alive, they're just going to do what they're told. Just going to do what they're told, like obedient little children to big daddy Putin. How embarrassing, how demoralizing. I mean, imagine being a Trump voter and just like hating your country, hating yourself that much, hating your family, hating your children, hating your grandchildren. Imagine just being that full of just vile, when you could just be having a nice life, you know. Talking of not having a nice life, though, the ceasefire in Gaza continues. Ceasefire. And but the long-term framework remains completely unclear, and the reconstruction depends on sustained international engagement and also the goodwill of the Israeli government allowing building machines. Oh, hang on, my screen has stopped. Why is my screen stopped? Why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to you? You unbelievable bastard. Right. Okay. Just give me 1 sec. I need to deal with this stuff that I need to deal with. Let me see. Where is my screen? There. Come on. Come back on. Come on back on screen. Yeah. Sorry about this, people watching. I have frozen, and my camera's not working. This is really shit. I want my money back. You absolutely gob pile of shit. Rubbish thing. Is there a reset button here? No. Okay, right. I'm gonna have to do something here to get the picture back. So just hello. Sorry about that. I had to reset my computer. I think my new camera overheated, maybe, or OBS just started going bananas and like using all my bloody RAM like a crazy bastard. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me. Daylight M, Simon Smith, David Peacock. Also, thanks very much to. I've lost it. There's been so many messages. I've lost it off the top of the screen now. Hang on, go away, go. Sorry, I'm trying to wrangle my stuff here. Yes, Ivan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Trigger warning. Sorry for being so downbeat today, but the harsh truth is the DWP is directly responsible for suicides. Yeah, I don't disagree with that statement, mate, and I'm sorry that you're having such a shit beginning of the new year. It just doesn't sound like fun at all. RAM prices are taking the piss. Part 3, London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham Services claims to be okay. Sorry, I can't read all that. Hello, all. Happy New Year. One of my auntie's funerals is today, so today's a bit of a salad. I'm sorry, Caravan lad. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that, mate. That really sucks. And yeah, so sorry about the break there. I'm back now. Hello. And I'm sorry that there's a big gap between in the middle of the stream here. Maybe I should have stopped it and started another one, but then that comes with a load of other problems as well. So I'll just go back in the future, back to the future, and I'll just cut out that section where there was nothing coming through. My sound was coming through. I could have just left it with that still of me like this. Could have just gone to my old camera. It's still set up. I just need to move my monitor a little bit. My extensive experience, most CPU thrashing problems are actually memory problems. Yeah, I agree. Graham's alive, says Hannah. Hanny making tube. Hannah making tube. Graham's alive. Graham Golden's alive. My Brian Blessed impression there. Why do LBC put Ian Dale in James O'Brien's time slot? I don't know. Just to piss everyone off. Don't listen to that. Listen to me instead. You got me for another half an hour, I reckon. Don't worry, Graham. No one noticed, said Sid. Yeah. Everyone was just talking amongst themselves. So everyone's having a bit of a shit time out there. I'll try and cheer you up as best I can with telling you what's going to happen in the next year. I mean, the big, beautiful day might happen. How good will that be? The big, beautiful day. That could happen. So where was I? I was talking about Ukraine war. Was I Gaza ceasefire? There's also tensions between India and Pakistan. Obviously, the 2025 skirmish up in Kashmir. I mean, that leaves a risk of escalation in 2026. I know Trump thinks he's solved the problems of India and Pakistan. He just doesn't realise that these problems that he thinks can be just waved away with a phone call have actually been there for thousands of years. Well, quite a long time. These things are embedded in the fabric of the societies there, and that's a bit of a difficult thing to get around, I think. And then we've got the protracted civil war in Sudan, in which the rebels and the government, so these are the rebels, the mercenaries that were working for the government, doing the government's dirty work, have turned on the government, and the government's own people who do the government's dirty work as well are fighting them, and basically the civilians are getting caught in the crossfire. It could lead to the displacement of up to 12 million people in Sudan, and there's a huge humanitarian crisis there. It's actually quite mind-blowing. And then we've got the ongoing potential conflict in Congo and Rwanda. It's to do with the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, not the Republic of Congo, different place, where there are very sought after materials and minerals and metals in the ground that other countries want. And the Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo have got a long history of beef. They have a lot of beef. They They have more beef than a Texas cattle ranch. Anyway, so yeah, that's a bit of a worry. China, Taiwan, that's also a bit of a worry. Obviously, the Republic of China, which is the official name of Taiwan in Taiwan, has a claim over the People's Republic of China, which is what we call China. Meanwhile, the People's Republic of China has a claim over the Republic of China. So what we call China has a claim over Taiwan. This goes back to the end of the war and the communist takeover of China under Chairman Mao Zedong, and the then Kuomintang, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, sorry to all my friends in China and Hong Kong. The government legged it with all the wealth. They stuffed a load of used fivers in suitcases and then fled to the island of Taiwan, which is actually not really Chinese. If you go back far enough, it's Polynesian, because all the Polynesians that for thousands of years travelled the Pacific Ocean all the way to Easter Island, which is just off the coast of Chile, really. They all came from Taiwan. True but crazy story. Crazy but true. And then we've got Trump versus Venezuela. He's going after the Nicolas Maduro, the president over there, who's a gobshite. But then Trump's a gobshite as well. So it's a bit like Alien versus Predator in this case. It's whoever wins, we lose. Now, Trump is aiming to topple the Maduro presidency, but he's going about it in the most stupid way possible, which is by launching attacks on ships that have killed, on little speedboats that have so far killed over 100 Venezuelans, and attacking and taking over their oil tankers. And this is just going to turn the people of Venezuela against the US. Even people who want to get rid of Maduro will pick Maduro over Trump. This is not how you do it. You play the smart game. You play the long game. You make sure that if there's someone in the country that you want to get rid of, I mean, eventually they'll get deposed or cark it or something. Something will happen. But in the meantime, you can be helping out the resistance. You can be helping out the people who are standing up against these monsters, like Maduro, like Trump, like Bolsonaro, or Erdogan, Dirty Duterte, who's currently on trial, which is kind of cool. And then we've got the nuclear instability question of the US-Russia New START, capitals, treaty to do with non-nuclear proliferation. That expires in February. And also there's the concerns over expanded Chinese nuclear arsenal. The Iran nuclear program is still advancing, even though Trump says he blew it all up. He didn't. He just set it back a few months. And AI and quantum computing also raises accidental launch risks. Not in America, because it's all on 5.25-inch floppy disks. So I don't think that in America that the nuclear weapons are going to be fired off because AI says so. But yeah, in other countries, that is a worry. And also then we've got, the US rhetoric about testing nuclear weapons. So Trump wants to test nuclear weapons. He wants to show off his big booms to people because he's a big boomer. And unfortunately, that does actually mean that, other countries will look at that and go, okay, we're going to test our nuclear weapons as well, putting more nuclear material into the atmosphere, which is the last thing we need right now. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Then there are small matters of Iran uprising and Thailand's war with Cambodia, which we're going to come on to. So, both Thailand and Cambodia have been at war on and off for centuries. For centuries. You go to Angkor Wat, which is this famous temple complex in Cambodia. The city that you stay in to go and visit Angkor Wat is called Siem Reap, and that literally means Siam, as in Thailand, defeated. That's what it means. It's like the Hindu Kush Mountains. It means killer of Hindus. Yeah, I think I read somewhere that in Samoa, is it that they have an insult which is like if you play a trick on someone, it's called a Fiji Tonga or Tonga Fiji. Don't be such a Tonga Fiji. This is like when people say Welsh on a deal. that's actually discriminatory against Welsh people. Yeah. What about Scotch mist? Is that discriminatory? Scotch mist? I suppose it is, because Scottish people don't like being called Scotch, because that's the name of a drink. It's not the name of the Scottish people. They're the Scots. Great Scott. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat, bringing us to 9 out of 10 on our little, leaderboard here, motherboard. What's it called? The top chat. And there we go. One toke over the line with Martin Harrow. Thank you very much, Martin, for the £2 super chat, which takes us into Confetti territory. 3, 2, 1, Confetti! Yay, something works this morning. Scotch broth, says Urbane Legends. It looks like Witchy's prediction that I'll have a better year might have something behind it. Had my third sale of the day. Oh, that's awesome, Chris. That's good news already. Before midday. That's fantastic news. Chris says, I might upgrade the motherboard and CPU cooler, but not sure, as I have to reinstall Windows with a new motherboard swap. Oh, God. And then you lose all your fonts, don't you? It's the one thing you always forget whenever you copy all your files over. Everything's in the cloud. Everything's on a hard disk. You set it up and all the screen looks the same. Everything looks the same. And then you try and go and do a document and you try and change it to that font you like, or you're doing in my case, it's probably a Photoshop image to use as a thumbnail. And I'm like, where's my font's gone? Where's my font? I like that font. That's the font I use for my little bubble, for my little speech bubbles. Where's it gone? Wasn't there someone called El Cid? El Cid? A bit worrying that Chris Coleman has a junior ministerial role in the Foreign Office dealing with part of Africa, says Adrian. I don't know who Chris Coleman is. I'll have to look that up. But that is a cut that is too deep for me. But yeah, see, that is concerning, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so we've also got the ongoing feuds in other places as well. The Saudis are still bombing the shit out of Yemen whenever they want to. We still have a terrible government in Eritrea. Libya is still at war with itself for all intents and purposes. Libya's like split in two. Yemen is kind of split in two as well. So yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, which isn't great. But let's talk about economics. So what's going to happen? Everyone's waiting for this bubble to burst, aren't they? The AI bubble. The global growth forecast is around 3.2%, and the IMF warns that the outlook is dim. Dim? Is that grim or dim? Dim? That seems like a strange word to use, but whatever. A strange adjective. Tariff wars are threatening to drag down trade confidence and tank markets. And US tariffs have got the highest tariff rate since the 1930s. And this mad protectionism of Donald Trump is sapping confidence and is rattling markets. And its interest rates, meanwhile, are expected to fall in the US and the UK and elsewhere. And the AI investment boom shows no signs, really, of slowing down in waiting for the bubble to burst. But markets are turbulent due to overvaluation concerns. And also Nvidia earnings in January are seen as a crucial barometer to the success of the AI revolution, which I don't think is that much of a revolution. I just think it's a friendly little robot that gets everything wrong. But what do I know? And AI disruption is hitting advanced economies harder than everywhere else. Also, there's going to be an AI Impact Summit in New Delhi in February. There's going to be a global AI dialogue in Geneva in July. So hopefully something good will come of that. There's going to be some looking at trade stability. Countries are avoiding retaliation to the US tariffs in order to preserve WTO rules, or what's left of them. And the next WTO ministerial meeting in March will be seen as a bit of a cooperation test between the nations that aren't America, America doesn't give a fuck about the WTO anymore. Bye US when AI collapses. Thanks very much, Tim. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think some companies will go down, and there'll be I think it's going to be like the 2008 credit crunch all over again. It's going to be like a mix. Actually, it's going to be quite interesting, in a darkly fascinating way, because we had the dot-com bubble, didn't we, of like 2000, 2001, right? But those companies had no money, right? And when the bubble burst, they were all left bankrupt because they had nothing coming in. It was all based on a dream. It was like, in the future, we will do this. We will have a website and we will sell things. And so they got all this investor funding in, and then they never actually got to do the things they wanted to do. And these things were like massively overvalued. With the credit crunch, it was more to do with institutions that were very, very powerful and very rich institutions that had money to investing in junk bonds, essentially junk derivatives, junk investments. And this meant that when the housing bubble burst in America, these banks were seen as too big to fail and bailed out by the taxpayer. There were car companies, Chrysler, Ford, GM, bailed out by the taxpayer in America. In the UK, we had Northern Rock, bailed out by the taxpayer. HBOS, bailed out by the taxpayer. So I think that this is going to be a mix of those two events. So there will be a bubble bursting moment, although it might be a little bit more like a tire going down slowly, like a slow puncher. Don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a cliff, because the companies that are pushing it, the shitty 7 companies that are really, really pushing AI at the moment are really rich. They have got a fuckload of money. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do when your dreams come true? So yes, we're also looking at China's domestic economy with falling house prices, subsidized exports, and there is potential for fiscal stimulus there from the Chinese government if the slump deepens that they're in at the moment. But Trump's lunacy is actually possibly arguably helping out China at the moment, because people are circumventing America to just go straight to China, and China's having to open up new markets in quite an aggressive manner, which it wouldn't have to do if America was being sensible. But there's also the fact that, so for instance, American farmers made a load of soy to sell to China, and China went, we're not buying that, and bought it off Argentina and Brazil instead. Yeah. And also, when we talk about the economy in the next few weeks, I think we're going to get this judgment from the Supreme Court as to whether Trump's tariffs are legal or not. I think they're going to come down on Trump's side because they're just corrupt as fuck. Then we've got Britain's 2026 headache, which is the strained position between the US and the EU. The US have made it very clear they fucking hate the EU. They hate Europe and everything we stand for. And Britain not being in the EU sort of stands as piggy in the middle in this situation. There was a new security and defence partnership that was signed last year. And there have been since disputes over the UK's slow progress in this regard. VFUC are expected to gain massively in the local and Welsh Assembly elections, and they present a direct threat to Labour's leadership and stability. Then they've got the economic pressure on Labour, high public debt, 10% of our tax revenue, the tax that we're giving the government, 10% of it is going on servicing the interest on the fucking debt that we owe. Because the Tories ramped up our debt to ludicrous proportions, which if it allows us to build stuff and make things now, and we have the money to pay it off, it's not that big a deal. It's not as big a deal as some people make it out to be, but at the same time, it is a bit galling that the Tories built nothing, achieved nothing, did nothing in their whole 14 years of being in power, and we're left paying a bill for a big fucking heap of nothing. I suppose they got Crossrail finished. Give them that. Anyway, so and then you've got also the Brexit aftershocks, and the fact that our trade links with the world are having to be redrawn because of Brexit. Because we used to do all our trade through the EU. The EU negotiated. When we were part of it, we negotiated trade agreements with all countries as a part of the EU, as quite a solid body of representing 500 million people and assets or a GDP of $19.1 trillion, like a lot of fucking money together, ape strong. But unfortunately, we decided to leave that, and we had to redraw all these trade routes and trade agreements with all of these different countries around the world, because we didn't have them. And that's why we went in for these stupid deals like the ones we've got with Australia, where they're allowed to sell us 20,000 tons of beef, like tax-free every year, whereas we can't sell them any. Like, not even tax-free, we just can't sell them any beef from the UK, because that was the deal we struck. As far as the environment is concerned, I talk about the environment and the climate situation for a moment. This is really grim at the moment, because Trump he's keeping like coal burning power stations online, which is costing people shitloads of money. He's withdrawn from COP. He's withdrawn from the climate agreement. He's withdrawn the Paris Climate Agreement. He's withdrawn from the Global Plastics Treaty. He's withdrawn from the WHO. And then, you got the deals that everyone else is trying to put together. The International Maritime Organization to do with dumping fuel into the water it doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. The shipping emissions reductions. It's been torpedoed. It's been sabotaged by the oil companies. And then we've got COP in Turkey, in Antalya in November this year. And again, I think the COP is a big fucking waste of time, to be honest with you. I think they should just sack it off and try something else, because it's obviously, after 31 years of trying, it's not working. Also, there's the critical minerals race that's going on at the moment. So the way it is at the moment, so America has the software, has the data centers, and has the companies. The Africa has a lot of the raw materials that are needed. China has most of the processing facilities for the raw materials, for these rare earth metals, and things, minerals, and Taiwan. Netherlands is the place where they make the machines that make the chips, and then they get actually made in Taiwan. And so there's a chain of organization around the world to do with computing and smartphones and AI and all that jazz. But it's been disrupted by Donald Trump being a fucking lunatic. So what happens next is anyone's fucking guess, but I'm going to go with the Chinese are going to be like, well, fuck this shit. Let's make our own machines that can make chips, which might take a long time for them to do. But yeah, we'll see. And also, they might be putting someone on the moon in the next couple of years, whereas America's nowhere near that. But we'll come to that in a moment. So first of all, though, we'll talk about the fact that the insurance sector has sort of shifted in its assessment of climate change risks, and as climate impacts intensify, they are moving from not just higher premiums for getting an insurance taken out against your property, but also and life, but also that they're actually not allowing people in certain areas to get insurance, which is devastating, because it means you have to leave. I mean, you have one bad storm or flood or a fire and you lose everything. You don't get anything back. Anyway, moving on. AI. We need to talk about AI and technology and cyber threats. I guess, Terminator. AI is apparently going to affect up to 60% of jobs in advanced economies. And 3/4 of the world's supercomputers are concentrated in US and China. And so you got this China's 5-year plan, which is probably going to be introduced. Is it March? They're going to bring out another 5. They like their 5-year plans, going on the whole Stalin tip, doing a 5-year plan. But they're pushing for, like I said earlier, the semiconductor independence, self-reliance, where they don't have to rely on these semiconductors being made in the country that is their mortal enemy, which is Taiwan. And also by the US restricting the sale of certain chips to China. So that's what's happening. The really high-end stuff, you're not allowed to sell them to China, apparently. And they want to hit this target to bypass US-controlled choke points, like what I described before. You've got all these different countries and all these different regions of the world, which are integral to this way that we get our chips. But obviously, America's thrown a big spanner in the works there under Trump, and while that sorts itself out, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, I think. Tommy says, as someone who works in the insurance company, I can verify that. Yeah, Tommy, it's quite grim. Roger says, China cutting off the world's silver supply is going to have a big effect on any renewable electricity stroke EV expansion strategies. That is true. And yeah, I love the way people are having the chat in the chat. That's kind of cool. Happy New Year to everyone. Witchy Goth has stand up. Hello, Witchy Goth. Happy New Year. It's now the afternoon. It now is actually the afternoon. So yes, going into space. I did mention the space thing. So the Artemis 2 moon missile, moon mission, which is about it's going to be the first crewed lunar orbit since the Apollo era. This is planned for this year. Whether it goes ahead or not, I do not know. It's going to be the foundation for future Mars missions, which I don't think are ever going to happen. So when it comes to space, I think it's all to do with putting up as many satellites into space, so much space junk into space as you can, and everything else can just put on the back burner forever, I think. Sporting events that we're going to have next year. We're going to have the FIFA World Cup, which is going to be held over America, Canada and Mexico. I'd only recommend going to Canada or Mexico. Wonderful, wonderful countries, kind, lovely countries run by sensible people, unlike America where everyone's got a fucking gun. Spain is tipped as the favourite to win the the World Cup championships, followed by France, England, Argentina, and then Germany. And obviously, the other thing that's being expected is Trump to use the event for political influence. Do you think? But there's going to be 46 teams, been expanded from 32 in the last World Cup. I think it's going to be a fucking disaster. I just do. I think it's going to be a fucking disaster. I don't think anyone's going to turn up in America. Why would you? They're selling the tickets for like $5,000 fucking dollars, and you might not get in. They want to see your phone. They want to check your phone on the way in. Then we've got the UN Secretary General selection is underway currently. So we're going to get a new Secretary General for the United Nations. Also, the Global South countries are distancing themselves from the international law because of basically what's happened in Israel, Gaza. The Hague Group is escalation on, they're calling for accountability on Palestine. And there's a pending International Court of Justice ruling on Myanmar, Burma, coming up in the next year. And also the ICC, the International Criminal Court cases on Gaza and Ukraine are expected to progress, but very slowly. And then the uncertainty about the rule of law, because don't forget, America hasn't signed up to the International Criminal Court, neither has Russia, neither has China. And these countries, the rising unilateralism and targeted sanctions by major powers rather than going through the legal means that we have already set up. And the idea that we can just put in sanctions and that'll be good enough and that'll stop them has just been proven wrong by the fact that Russia is still going. It will enter the 5th year of its conflict, of its invasion of Ukraine, this full invasion, but it's actually going to begin this year. It's 11th year. No, actually, it's going to be the 12th, isn't it? It's going to be the 12th year. So it was 2014, wasn't it? So it's going to be the 12th year. 12 years. Actually, it's already in the 12th year. Shit. It's the 13th year since the invasion of Crimea and the eastern part of the Donbass. That's fucking crazy, that is. And finally, just to say, the good news is that more and more young people are coming on board, and they tend to be more socially conscious, environmentally conscious, and liberal than older people. So that's good. However, there is a unfortunate side to this, which was COVID. It seems that, and I know this isn't everyone, and I'm not trying to generalize, but there is a large number of General Zers, who fell down the toxic masculinity pipeline in the 2020s and the early 2020s, being stuck inside, watching nothing but absolute garbage from the likes of Peterson and Charlie Kirk, who's no longer with us. What a shame. And that he just sounds like this Ben Shapiro. Oh my God. How can anyone listen to that man's voice for more than like 5 seconds without, vomiting up their own legs? And watching stuff by Andrew Tate, watching stuff by Joe Rogan, pumping out this bullshit. It's like a permanent bullshit cannon. It's just blurting out fucking bullshit like a big foghorn full of shit, just being blurted out at everyone. And unfortunately, the way things are set up, you have to pay to get the truth through paywalls on newspapers, but on real newspapers, investigative journalists doing their work, you have to pay to read what they've got to say about anything. But the free stuff, yeah, it's all lies. All the lies, they're for free. You can have them. You can have that. You can have that for nothing. You can have all those lies for nothing, mate. No worries here. Which is really, really fucking grim. So now I think it's time to quickly go over to the papers very quickly, because I do need to wrap up today's show, even though we did have a little bit of 10 minutes of silence there. 10 minutes of glorious silence where I wasn't rabbiting on. Lunar developments is laid out in the Artemis program. Earth orbit is being handed over to private enterprise after the ISS is decommissioned, the international sailing ship. It would be hilarious if no one turns up for the FA Cup or whatever the football is in Gilead. No, it's the World Cup. 48 teams. I remember Diana Ross missing a penalty in the 1994 opening ceremony. Why don't FIFA want to award a World Cup to these islands? And Elle says anyone who likes Trump will be in the stands of the World Cup. Let's see how many are let in the country. I'm expecting a huge failure there. Can't wait. And I don't like football. Then again, I mean, look, it's not many Americans. I'm sure they can fill up a stadium full of Americans who don't really care about football. Pretty sure that can happen. Has Ben Shapiro ever interviewed Ted Cruz? Two whiny voices? I don't know. Tommy says Andrew Tate is so butthurt over his recent loss in that fight. It's satisfying to watch. Yeah, it gave me a little bit of a spring in my step on Christmas Day, knowing that dickhead Jake Paul was having his Christmas lunch through a straw because he got his jaw broken in two places, so he had to drink it through a straw. He had to put all his Christmas food in a blender, and then he had to drink it like a twat. Anyway, so moving on, we've got, why am I so spot? Look at me, I'm Diddy. I'm really Diddy here. Why have you made me extra Diddy? What is even happening right now? Just got to stretch myself out. There you go. More stretched out now. That's good. Okay, so 2026 will be better, says Keir Starmer. I bloody well hope so, Keir, because it couldn't get much fucking worse. Let them hear the truth to stop millions more suffering. Dame Esther Ranson is urging the public to help with the assisted dying bill by writing to peers who oppose it. Yes, I agree with her on this one. Absolutely. Listen, right, I know people have their own opinions on this. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, we've also got Miss Paula Thomas here with a £5 super chat. Thank you so much, Paula. That is very kind of you. Ben Shapiro called Andrew Neil a radical leftist once. Never lasts so hard. That did happen, didn't it, Paula? That did actually happen. You're not going mad. That did happen. But yes, as someone, as many of you know, who watch the show quite often, and when I'm in Liverpool, I'm in the living room, and my dad is literally in a hospital bed next to where I'm filming, and he's chuckling away to himself. He's watching what I'm doing, but he hasn't been there for the last 5 years. Well, actually, it's been longer than that. But in September of 2020, he was in hospital. He contracted COVID, and he became bedbound, and he couldn't get up. He couldn't move. He couldn't go anywhere by himself. And for the last 5 years, he has been in the living room with the carers coming 4 times a day to look after him. And I don't want that. I don't want that. When I reach the end of my life, I do not want to be spending 5 years in a living room being looked after, being cleaned by, people coming in 4 times a day, because I can't speak, I can't move, I can't look after myself. No, I don't want that. And it's particularly shitty because, again, it is one of those things where if you are rich, you can be gay. If you are rich, you can be trans. If you are rich, you can write an award-winning film. You can direct. You can do whatever the fuck you like if you are rich. If you can afford it, and you can go to the Dignitas Centre over in Switzerland, you can have your life ended for you if you can't do that yourself. But the rest of us, we don't get that. If you're rich, you can go and live and work anywhere in the European Union. If you're rich, you can marry someone from another country. If you're rich, you can do all these things. And I'm not saying, oh, you're rich, you can take all the drugs you want and get away with it. Never go to jail. If you're rich, you can pay for rehab. If you're rich, you can get the mental health treatment that you need. The rest of us can't. And this two-tier system that we live in is absolutely fucking disgraceful. And when it comes to assisted dying, I think it's something that should be a decision for the people who it affects. It should be the people who say, like myself, this is mine. This is the only thing I will ever really own in my life. I'm not talking about my fleece. I'm talking about my body. This is mine. If I want to get a really stupid tattoo on my face, it's my body. I should be allowed to do that. As a sane adult, I should be allowed to do that. If I want to develop a drug addiction for some reason, I should be allowed to do that. If I then need help to get off the drugs, I should be given that help to get me off the drugs. There should be things put in place that say, look, if you are an adult and you know the risks, you can do this thing. I should be able to go paragliding. I should be able to jump out of a plane. I should be able to go bungee jumping or base jumping if I want, which are just ludicrous things to do. Absolutely ludicrous. People die all the time doing this shit. But most don't, and people find it fun. When the right whingers talk about the nanny state, but they're all for the nanny state. They're all for drugs to remain illegal. They're all for people being told what tattoos they can and can't get. They're all for all this shit, which is kind of weird because, hang on, isn't that the nanny? It's a bit like when they go on about virtue signaling, and you have to point out to them that the fact that poppies exist and they are the most blatant form of virtue signaling that have ever existed. But yes, I agree with Esther Ranson on this, and I agree that the unelected House of Lords should not be able to stop this legislation that was voted on by the Commons and has gone into the House of Lords now, and they've added like 1,000 amendments just to gum up the works on purpose so it doesn't go through, which I think is fucking disgraceful. But also, could be argued that this is probably the House of Lords doing a bit of the old euthanasia, because someone's going to have to put it out of its misery, isn't it? Yeah. In short, a government should serve its people. Yes, it should, Gallifrey, man, not just the rich. Why is it that the rich can do all this stuff, but the rest of us, we struggle? We struggle every day. But yeah, the rich people who voted for Brexit did so in the full knowledge that they would stop everybody else from being able to live and work and marry someone from some other country. Live and work in some other country and marry someone from some other country. They knew that they were taking that right away from us. Bastards. Anyway, deliciously Ella, what she did next. I don't know who Ella is, and I do not care what she did next. I don't give a flying fuck through a rolling donut, my friends. So yes, then we've also got the special needs support at risk of cost-cutting plans. We've also got the Star here with Joshua Trucker on run, and cops are hunting the driver of the truck Anthony Joshua's SUV plowed into Nigeria's deadliest road. If it's the road that I went down, yes it is. Oh my god, that fucking road. Princess steps into 2026 with style. So we've got pictures of the woman from the house down the road, because that's really important. And we've got a tit. We've got a tit on the front cover of the Daily Mail. Then we've also, the Daily Telegraph. We've also got someone saying Happy New Year with a face. And Mahmoud vows to fight European judges over Begum. Strasbourg court challenges its decision to revoke citizenship of former ISIS or IS bride. Starmer frustrated with pace of change. Rollout of EV chargers suffers slowdown in bloater labour, which isn't great. UK criticises Israel over Oxfam, not Ofcom, Oxfam aid ban. You see why I mixed that up, right? Home Secretary told to deport an extremist there. The Russia shows video of drone attacking Putin. Radcliffe blames £1 billion of losses on carbon tax. Do you know what, Jim Radcliffe, a famous Brexiter and gobshite? I'll tell you what, mate. Why don't you fuck off? Why don't you fuck off? And when you finish fucking off, fuck off some more, because you supported Brexit, which has cost our country $1 trillion. £1 trillion, not a billion, but a trillion. So get to shit, you rich twat, you privately educated gobshite. Go away. Digital ID for babies, says the Daily Mail. Ministers discuss sinister new plan at secret meetings. Newborns could be allocated digital IDs in the sinister expansion of controversial policy. Ministers have privately raised the prospect. I look at secret meetings. Like, cabinet meetings are not secret. I mean, they're not public, but they're not necessarily secret, you know? The people there... You could describe any meeting of the cabinet as a secret meeting and make it sound sinister, which they're doing with the word sinister. The idea of having an ID scheme... which should be expanded to babies in this country. I don't really agree with an ID scheme, but like whatever. And then there's an affair sent a wrecking ball through my marriage and family. Oh, okay. Well, this guy had an affair, and maybe he's sad about it. I don't know. Sydney lights up the world for 2026. The year of proof, as I've mentioned. Starmer to woo MPs that push to cut cost of living. And how to have a better day. Expert ways to improve your life from morning to night. We've got home visit vaccines to boost uptake. Health visitors will be sent to the homes of young families in England to deliver vaccines. Thank God for that. That sounds like a good idea to me. And then health and travel alerts issued as Big Freeze begins. We're entering the Big Freeze, so please stay warm as best you can. And then we've got the Independent, no FT today. We've got the Independent here saying HS2 blew 37 billion buying homes on axed part of route. Just when you thought they couldn't possibly waste any more taxpayers' money, we reveal houses that were bought to clear the way for tracks from Birmingham to Manchester and Leeds years after the routes were scrapped. Genius. Absolute genius what's going on here. Sinister, do they mean left-handed? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they mean. I'm sorry for the subscription animation. Keeps popping up. I think it really, really, really wants you to subscribe. I think you should really subscribe. Right, I'm off ski. She Must Be Obeyed is off on a 16-hour shift and needs to be fed. Okay, well, off to do that, Simon, with you. And for everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave it at that. So the things to look out for in the year ahead across the political world, economics, the climate change, the environment, all that kind of shit. And we're going to be here. We're going to be here on Politics Social, and we're going to be not really bringing you the news, but kind of commenting on what news is out there and getting your opinion and giving you ours. So please stick with this channel through the coming year 2026. And thanks so much for watching, and thanks for sticking with us through 2025. That was a particularly shit year because Trump became president, and but there were some bright spots there. Some things happened, and I went, yes. I won't say what because I might get demonetized. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Says Diz. You too, mate. You too. And the cost of living crisis must not be too bad. Clearly, a lot of people have money left over for crack, says Tommy. And fireworks and fucking flags. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching. I might do a show tonight, not promising anything, but if I can, I will. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. We've got a packed schedule tomorrow on Friday the 2nd of January. We've got Morning Brew in the morning. There's going to be me and Phil chatting, as is our wont, at 1 o'clock. For the agenda, where we'll be looking at where Labour stands in 2026 specifically. And then finally, we'll be doing our first Politics Social, Friday night social of the year. And there's going to be a quiz. Okay? There's going to be a quiz, and you need to be involved. Okay? You're going to be part of the quiz because you are going to be providing the answers. All will be revealed on Friday. So hopefully I'll get to see you then, or you get to see me at least. And until then, I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.